Adjustment interest on capital. First effect, who contributes capital to the business? Obviously the partners contributes capital to the business, but always think while recording adjustments, also always think from business point of view. From business point of view, we consider capital as liability of the business. Liability means loan of the business. So interest on capital is a liability of the business. So the first effect, as interest on capital is a liability of the business or loan of the business, on loan interest is always paid by the business. Though it is paid to the partners, from business point of view it is expense of the business. Interest on loan paid by the business. So first effect, interest on capital here. Interest on capital is treated as indirect expense of the business. That's why first effect, debit side of profit and loss account. It is indirect expense of the business. Interest on capital is paid by the business to the partners. From business point of view, it is expense, indirect expense. That's why first effect on debit side of profit and loss account. And second effect, partners capital account is separately open. Transaction or item that increases the amount of capital, that items are always recorded on the credit side of capital. So when interest on capital is paid by the business, that interest is received by the partners, that transaction increases total amount of capital. That's why interest on capital, if one effect, always remember, if one effect is recorded on the debit side, another effect is compulsory recorded on the credit side. Interest on capital is paid by the business to the partners, and the account related to partners which is open is partners capital or current account. So second effect, here debit side and here credit side of partners capital or current account. Very simple effect is there. Then the next adjustment is the adjustment of drawings. Who made drawings? Businessman or partners made drawings, right? But interest on drawings is not paid by the business. Interest on drawings is always received by the business. So from business point of view, interest on drawings is treated as income. Interest on capital is expense of the business, because interest on capital is paid by the business to the partners. But in case of interest on drawings is always received by the business. And when income is received, interest on drawings received, interest is received, it is treated as income of the business. So the first effect, show interest received on drawings on credit side of profit and loss account, because it is treated as income for the business. Interest on drawings is received by the business from partners. That's why it is indirect income. As it is indirect income, it is recorded on the credit side of profit and loss account. Drawings, interest on drawings reduces the amount of capital or decreases the amount of capital, and whenever any item decreases the amount of capital, that item is recorded on the debit side of partners capital or current account. Here one effect is recorded on the credit side. So obviously second effect, as drawings are related to the partners, interest on drawings are also related with partners. That's why second effect on debit side of partners capital or current account. If you remember one effect, second effect will be on opposite side. Then next is interest on loan taken. Interest on loan taken. Loan taken is liability. Whenever loan is taken, we have to pay interest on that loan. So it is the liability of the business. So when interest is paid, interest on loan taken is always paid by the business. Interest is paid. So it is expense of the business, indirect expense of the business. So first effect on debit side of profit and loss account. Like interest on capital, interest on loan is also recorded on the debit side of profit and loss account. Only interest on drawings is recorded on the credit side, because interest on drawings is not paid. Interest on drawings is received by the business. That's why interest on drawings is recorded on the credit side of P&L account. But interest on capital, interest on loan is always paid by the business. That's why recorded on the loan taken. That's why it is recorded on the debit side of profit and loss account. And second effect, loan of any type is recorded on the liability side of the balance sheet. So we have to add the amount of interest to that loan taken in the liability side of the balance sheet. Second effect, add the amount of interest to that particular loan on the liability side of the balance sheet. Then the next is interest on investment or on loan given. Sometimes loans are also given by the if loan is taken, it is treated as a liability of the business, but if loan is given by the business to others, then it is treated as asset of the business. Any type of investment is asset of the business, or loan given or advances given is also asset of the business. So on investment or on loan given, interest is not paid, interest is received by the business. So when interest is received, it is treated as indirect income of the business. Interest, same item, nominal account. When interest is paid, it is expense, record on the debit side of P&L. When interest is received, it is income, record on the credit side of P&L. So here, one effect on credit side of profit and loss account, by interest on investment or by interest on loan given. Loan given is asset and loan taken is liability. And second effect, investment or loan given is recorded on the asset side of the balance sheet. So add that much amount of interest to the asset side of balance sheet to that particular item. So very simple effects are there. Just you have to remember whether loan is taken or loan is given. If loan is taken, it is liability. If loan is given, it is asset. आता बघा बँकेतून समजा पेरेंट्सने कर्ज घेतलं म्हणजे लोन टेकन. मग कर्ज घेतल्यावर त्याच्यावरचं व्याज काय करावं लागतं, पेड करावं लागतं. समजा 1 लाख रुपये कर्ज घेतलं आणि त्याच्यावर समजा व्याज पेड करावं लागलं 25,000, तर आपण काय म्हणतो, हां 1 लाख घेतलं पण टोटल कर्ज फेडावं लागलं 1,25,000. म्हणजे आपण काय करतो, ती अमाऊंट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट त्या कर्जामध्ये आपण ॲड करतो, म्हणजे आपलं कर्ज, आपली लायबिलिटी आपण इन्क्रीज करतो. म्हणून जेव्हा जेव्हा इंटरेस्ट ऑन लोन गिव्हन टेकन असतं तेव्हा आपण काय करतो, एक इफेक्ट दाखवतो P&Lच्या डेबिटला, कारण आपला तेवढा खर्च वाढतो, तेवढा इंटरेस्ट ऑन लोन आपल्याला पेड करायचं असतं जेव्हा आपण कर्ज घेतो तेव्हा. आणि दुसरा इफेक्ट, ती कर्ज इंटरेस्टची अमाऊंट, व्याजाची रक्कम आपण त्या कर्जाच्या मुद्दलमध्ये ॲड करतो. 1 लाख कर्ज होतं, प्रिन्सिपल अमाऊंट मुद्दल आणि व्याज त्याच्यावर 25,000, असं टोटल माझं कर्ज झालं 1,25,000 रुपये. आणि तसंच आपण काय करतो, जसं आपण लोन घेतो तसं आपण दुसऱ्यांना लोन देऊ पण शकतो. समजा आपण दुसऱ्या कोणाला तरी लोन दिलेलं आहे 1 लाख रुपये आणि त्याच्यावर समजा आपल्याला व्याज मिळालेलं आहे 30,000, तर आपण काय बोलतो, हां मी एक लोन दिलेलं आहे, माझी इन्व्हेस्टमेंट झालेली आहे, 1 लाखाची मी इन्व्हेस्टमेंट केलेली आहे, कर्ज दिलेलं आहे लोकांना, असेच व्याजावर पैसे दिलेले आहेत आणि त्याच्यावर मला व्याज मिळालं 30,000. मग आपण काय करतो, हे असेटला दाखवतो आणि 30,000 आपल्याला फायदा झाला की नाही, कारण ते 30,000 रुपये व्याज आपण रिसीव्ह करणार आहोत, घेणार आहोत. जिथे आपण व्याज घेतो ते आपली इन्कम होते म्हणून P&Lच्या क्रेडिटला जातो, जिथे व्याज आपण देतो तो आपला एक्सपेन्स होतो, P&Lच्या डेबिटला जातो. See next adjustment number 20 given on page number 20, deferred expenses of advertisement paid for 5 years. So students, always remember, when we record or when we prepare a final accounts, always remember, in case of a trading account and nominal account, we record all expenses and incomes, whether that income or expenses are direct or indirect. To that particular ledger accounts, we record these expenses and incomes. But always remember, while preparing the final accounts, we have to record the expenses or income related to that particular financial year only. If any amount is paid for the next year, or any expenses are paid for the next year, or any income is received for the next year, we cannot treat that, or we cannot record that expenses or income for that particular financial year. So for this purpose, there are some adjustments. See, adjustment number 20 is an example of that type of adjustment. Deferred expenses of advertisement paid for 5 years. Many times this adjustment is given in trial balance. Advertisement in bracket paid for 3 years, or paid for 2 years, or paid for 5 years. This information is given. And a financial year is only a 1 year. We cannot record next year's advertisement expenses for that particular financial year or in that particular financial year. So here we have to make adjustment of prepaid expenses. Always remember, when the period of expenses is given in the adjustment or in a trial balance, if that period is more than 1 year, suppose 2 years, 3 years, 15 months, 18 months, etc. So remember, here we have to make adjustment of prepaid expenses. We have to record advertisement expenditure of 1 year only to that particular financial year, and the remaining advertisement which is paid in advance or which is prepaid, that much advertisement expenses we have to deduct from advertisement, and we have to show that prepaid advertisement to the asset side of the balance sheet. In our first video of adjustments, we have studied prepaid expenses and pre-received income. So when pre is given, here pre is not given, but here information is given advertisement and in bracket 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, etc. So remember, when the period which is given in bracket is, if that period is more than 1 year, then we have to make adjustment of prepaid expenses. Advertisement is treated as expense of the business. So here we have to make adjustment of prepaid expenses. We have to record advertisement expenses of only 1 year to the debit side of profit and loss account, and the remaining advertisement expenses which are paid in advance for the next 2 years or 4 years, etc., that advertisement expenses we have to show that as asset on the asset side of the balance sheet. Expenses when paid in advance, that expenses are treated as asset of the business. So the first effect, advertisement expenses related to current year debited to profit and loss account, and remaining amount of advertisement is shown on asset side of the balance sheet as prepaid advertisement. तर मुलांना नेहमी लक्षात ठेवा, जेव्हा आपण कुठलेही एक्सपेन्सेस किंवा इन्कम रेकॉर्ड करतो फायनल अकाउंट्समध्ये, तेव्हा लक्षात ठेवायचं आहे ट्रेडिंगला किंवा P&Lला आपण जे इन्कम किंवा एक्सपेन्सेस रेकॉर्ड करतो ते फक्त त्या इयर पुरतेच आपण रेकॉर्ड करतो. मग समजा आपण जे ॲडजस्टमेंट शिकलो बघा, प्रीपेड आणि आउटस्टँडिंग किंवा प्री रिसिव्ड, मग ह्या कशाशी रिलेटेड असतात? ह्याच्याशी. एक तर इन्कम इन ॲडव्हान्स रिसिव्ह केलेली असते, एक्सपेन्सेस इन ॲडव्हान्स पेड केलेले असतात, म्हणजे ते त्या इयरमध्ये पेड केलेले आहेत पण ते त्या इयरचे नसतात, ते पुढच्या वर्षीचे किंवा त्याच्या अजून पुढच्या पिरियडचे असतात. त्या ॲडजस्टमेंट्स असतात प्रीपेड आणि आउटस्टँडिंगच्या. तर त्या ओळखणे खूप सोपं आहे. ही डिफर्ड एक्सपेन्सेसची जी ॲडजस्टमेंट आहे ती तशीच आहे. आपल्याला ट्रायल बॅलन्समध्ये ॲडव्हर्टाइजमेंट दिलेली असते आणि इन ब्रॅकेट कंसामध्ये आपल्याला दिलेलं असतं 3 इयर्स 2 इयर्स एक्सेट्रा. मग लक्षात ठेवायचं आहे की आपल्याला फायनल अकाउंट्समध्ये फक्त त्या फायनान्शियल इयरचेच एक्सपेन्सेस किंवा इन्कम रेकॉर्ड करायची असते. पुढच्या वर्षीसाठी काय आपण इन ॲडव्हान्स पेड केलं असेल किंवा रिसिव्ड केलं असेल तर ते त्याच्यातून आपल्याला लेस करावं लागतं. मग समजा ॲडव्हर्टाइजमेंट एक्सपेन्सेस दिले 3000 आणि इन ब्रॅकेट दिला 3 इयर्स, तर लक्षात ठेवायचं आहे 3 इयर्सचे 3000 म्हणजे एक इयरचे 1 इयरचे किती येणार? ऑब्व्हियसली 1000. हे फक्त आपण P&L डेबिटला दाखवणार आणि रिमेनिंग 2000 जे नेक्स्ट 2 इयर्सचे पेड केले ते कुठे दाखवणार? asset side of the balance sheet, because prepaid expenses are treated as asset of the business. See, there are some hidden adjustments given in trial balance, means such type of adjustments are not specifically given in adjustment column, but we have to find out that adjustments which are given in trial balance, that type of adjustments are called as hidden adjustments given in trial balance. See, the first, salaries or rent paid and in bracket for 10 months. We have studied a financial year is of a 12 months from April to March, 12 months, but here the period is only 10 months. Always remember, when the period is given in months and if that period is less than 12 months, if that period is less than 12 months, say 9 months, 10 months, 11 months, etc. So remember, here we have to make adjustment of outstanding. Rent or salaries paid is expense of the business. So here we have to make adjustment of outstanding expenses. Actually, we have to make payment of salaries or rent for a total entire financial year of 12 months. But here salaries or rent are paid only for 10 months. That means rent or salary of 2 months is still not paid. Due but not paid are called as outstanding expenses. So here we have to make adjustment of outstanding expenses. So first effect, add the amount of salaries or rent for 2 months to salaries or rent respectively. And second effect, outstanding expenses is a liability of the business. So second effect on liability side of the balance sheet. Sometimes adjustment of insurance premium is given here. See here, insurance premium paid for 1 year ending 30th June 2019. Accounting year ends on 31st March 2019. So here accounting year ends on 31st March 2019 and the date which is given here is a date of next after 31st March. So April 19, May 19 and June 19, these 3 months. Actually, the period of these 3 months is a period of next financial year. So we cannot record these 3 insurance premium of these 3 months in our current financial year, April 2018 to March 2019. So here we have to make adjustment of prepaid. it is very easy or simple to know whether the adjustment is of outstanding or prepaid. Here, see in first adjustment, period is less than 12 months. So here we have to make adjustment of outstanding because the period is less than 12 months or a year. And here, year ends on 31st March 2019, means we can consider the expenses or income from the period 1st April 2018 to 31st March 2019. But here insurance premium is paid for the year ending 30 June 2019. So the period from April 2019 to June 2019, period of these 3 months, we cannot record insurance premium of these 3 months in the financial year 2018-19. So here the next period of next year is given. That's why here we have to make adjustment of prepaid insurance. See here advertisement expenses in bracket for 4 years. Same adjustment is there, adjustment of deferred revenue expenditure. Advertisement expenses for 4 years. Suppose the advertisement expenses given in trial balance for 4 years, rupees 4,000. And we have studied in final accounts or in any type of nominal accounts, always remember expenses or incomes are recorded only for that particular financial year only. And if any amount of expenses which is paid in advance for the next years or any income is received in advance for the next years, we cannot record that expenses and incomes for that particular year to the debit side or credit side of the P&L account. So here advertisement expenses paid for 4 years. So we have to record only 1 year's advertisement expenses to debit side of profit and loss account, and remaining advertisement expenses we have to show, means only we can show only 1,000 rupees to the debit side of profit and loss account, and 3 years advertisement expenses we have to show that advertisement expenses as prepaid advertisement to the asset side of the balance sheet. Whenever expenses are paid in advance, they are treated as expenses assets of the business, and whenever expenses are outstanding, they are treated as liabilities of the business. Always remember, outstanding means add liability, prepaid less asset. Here again prepaid expenses less asset. Then the rent received for 11 months. Here the period is less than 12 months. Period is given only of 11 months, means here we have to make adjustment of outstanding income. Rent is received. What is received by the business? Always income is received by the business. So here rent received is income of the business. Actually we have to receive income of rent of 12 months, but here rent is received only for 11 months, means rent of 1 month is still outstanding. Rent is earned but not received, means here outstanding income is there or accrued income is there. So when the word outstanding, here directly the word outstanding rent is not given, but the period is given for 11 months, and this period is less than 12 months. That means we have to make adjustment of outstanding. Outstanding means add. So first effect, add the proportionate amount of rent for 1 month to the rent received on credit side of the profit and loss account. Rent received is indirect income, that's why recorded on credit side of profit and loss account. To that rent we have to add 1 month outstanding rent. And second effect, when income is outstanding, same effect. Here add, and second effect asset, add asset. Then the next adjustment is 10% loan in bracket borrowed on 1st January 2018. Accounting year ends on 31st March 2018. Many times such liabilities or assets are given in trial balance, like 10% loan, 10% bonds, 10% debentures, 20% debentures, etc. And no specific information is given in adjustment related to this. But if percentage rate of interest is given, then we have if no further adjustment or information is given in adjustment, we have to make that adjustment compulsory. So here, if in trial balance 10% loan and in bracket information is given borrowed on 1st January 2018, accounting year ends on 31st March 2018. So here we have to, borrowed means loan is taken. That means here 10% loan is liability of the business because loan is taken. But the date of loan taken is 1st January 2018 and our accounting year ends on 31st March 2018. So count the period from 1st January to 31st March, January, February and March for the period of 3 months. So here, as loan is taken on 1st January 2018, we have to pay loan on this loan only from the period of January to March, that is the period for the period of 3 months, not for the entire year. बघा आता पालकांनी समजा लोन घेतले, पेरेंट्सनी लोन घेतलं, ते लोन समजा 1 जानेवारीला घेतलं तर 1 एप्रिलपासूनचं लोन आपण भरू का? 1 एप्रिल 2017 पासून ऑब्व्हियसली भरणार नाही. आपलं इयर सुरू होतं आहे 1 एप्रिल 2017ला आणि एंड होतं आहे 31 मार्च 2018ला. पण जर लोनच आपण 1 जानेवारी 2018ला घेतलं आहे तर आधीच्या पिरियडचं आपण लोनचं इंटरेस्ट भरू का? प्रश्नच येत नाही. मग आपण ज्या तारखेपासून लोन घेतलं आहे त्या तारखेपासून ते फायनान्शियल इयर संपेपर्यंत जेवढा पिरियड होईल तेवढ्याच पिरियडचं लोन आपण इंटरेस्ट काय करणार? कॅल्क्युलेट करणार. जानेवारी, फेब्रुवारी आणि मार्च असे 3 महिन्याचं फक्त आपण इंटरेस्ट त्याच्यावर काय करणार? कॅल्क्युलेट करणार आणि ती ॲडजस्टमेंट करणार. जशी आपण मगाशी बघितली इंटरेस्ट ऑन लोन असते, सेम ॲडजस्टमेंट, फक्त इथे आपण पूर्ण वर्षभराचं नाही घेणार तर किती महिन्याचं फक्त कॅल्क्युलेट करणार? 3 महिन्याचं. कारण आपण कर्ज कधी घेतलेलं आहे? 1 जानेवारीला घेतलेलं आहे 2018ला आणि आपलं वर्ष संपते 31 मार्च 2018ला. मग ह्या फायनान्शियल इयरमध्ये आपण फक्त 3 महिन्याचंच इंटरेस्ट त्याच्यावर पेड करणार. त्याचप्रमाणे see this next adjustment is also same, only difference is that here 10% loan is a liability and here 16% investment is asset of the business. So on asset or investment, interest is always received by the business. See the period purchase on 1st January 2019 and accounting year ends on 31st March 2019. So here we have to received or we have to record the interest received on investment only for the period from 1st January to 31st March, that is for 3 months. We have to calculate the interest on investment at the rate of 16% per annum for the period of 3 months only, because investments are purchased on 1st January 2019 and not on 1st April 2018. So the effect show the amount of interest received on investment for 3 months on the credit side of the profit and loss account and add the amount of interest receivable on investment on the asset side of the balance sheet. See, all these adjustments are very easy. When we solve the practical problems, you can easily understand this, all the adjustments, very easy to solve and very easy to understand.